Alex, in previous conversations, you've talked about Unicoin being a disruptive business model, a currency which pays dividends and is equity backed. Can you explain how that might work?
It works by us developing a diversified portfolio of equity stakes in emerging growth companies by investing Unicoins in those companies in exchange for equity in those companies.
And why equity and not gold or US dollars?
Gold, you can water every day, it wouldn't grow. It is what it is. US dollar is actually shrinking, and shrinking at the record high rate of 8% per year. That's the highest inflation in 40 years. However, equity means that there are going to be tens of thousands of people working on making that equity more valuable. They're selecting the best teams with best ideas, with highest chances of succeed, and we expect that equity to grow considerably, whereas other assets, like those which you mentioned, would not or would shrink.
And how do you know that companies will accept Unicoin as payment for their equity?
From the first-hand experience. When we were raising money for our own company, we were accepting Bitcoin, Litecoin, USD coin, and even Dogecoins. And not as a favor for the star of this interview, Roxy, but because it was a good business. Those investments have since increased in value, whereas investments which we received in US dollars have been shrinking at the rate of 8% per year. Also, I want to mention that some of the companies already asked to be paid in Unicoins. We discussed it in our previous video.
And how do you go about selecting these companies for your portfolio?
Here we are in a very advantageous situation because our company operates Unicorn Hunters, a business show which Forbes magazine recently described as the most iconic business show of recent times. We're getting hundreds of applications from scale-up companies, from emerging growth companies, from all over the world on a monthly basis. I actually expect this number to grow considerably as our audience increases. And so we are sifting through all those applications, and we are selecting the most promising applicants. Some of them are going to be invited to participate in our show, but even those who will not make the cut may have substantial business potential for us to offer an investment in form of Unicoins.
How can investors evaluate the strength of your portfolio?
Easily. We made our portfolio transparent. Our corporate name is Transparent Business, so we're trying to be transparent in our business. If you go to unicoin.com, there is a tab in the main menu which says Portfolio. You click on it, and you will see the initial items on our portfolio, and each of those items or those investments, those assets, is illustrated by an episode of Unicorn Hunters show. So you can watch an episode of the show and see precisely what made us excited about that opportunity. You can see not just my opinion about that company or my partners, but also opinions of Rosie Rios, a recent treasurer of the United States, or Movella, who was chief financial officer of 2 US vice presidents, or Steve Wozniak, the legendary co-founder of Apple. And we bring other experts, and then we concur that the company is worth investing in. We take a special interest and going to be offering an investment in form of Unicoins.
One of the more popular advantages, I guess, of Unicoin are that the fact that it's going to pay dividends. How often will you be paying dividends?
We aim for paying it on an annual basis. Obviously, we cannot guarantee any particular frequency or size of dividends because future success in business cannot be guaranteed ever. But we believe that by choosing right type of companies, we shall be able to pay a healthy dividend on annual basis.
And do you expect your equity portfolio to grow to a significant size?
Oh yes, I think that 15 billion coins allocated for creating this equity portfolio shall be sufficient for creating a portfolio with exit value of 200 to 250 billion dollars.
Wouldn't it then be the largest venture fund?
Yes, it indeed would be the largest venture fund on the planet, but we are not going to keep all the eggs in one basket. So we are going to split our portfolio in roughly 15 investment funds, which are going to specialize in certain industries. For instance, pharmaceuticals, SaaS, software as a service, crypto, metaverse, and so forth. We want to select fund managers with unparalleled expertise in those areas who would be selecting best investment opportunities in those areas. Nobody can be an expert in everything. So that's why we believe that splitting our portfolio in individual funds will make more sense and will make it a more secure, less risky business model.
Alex, with such a volume of business, what would be the ecological impact? Some people say that cryptocurrencies fry the planet. Bitcoin itself consumes more energy than Finland, correct?
Yeah, it is correct, and it's quite disturbing. Many people are worried for a good reason about the ecological impact of cryptocurrencies. I believe it's a huge competitive advantage which we have over Bitcoin because we are selecting blockchains which use millions times less electricity for every transaction compared to Bitcoin. Obviously, it's an advantage of selecting blockchain now, 14 years later after Bitcoin was created. But we are going to take full use of that advantage and stress to people that it's a much better choice ecologically, Unicoin, I mean.
And what about any social impact?
Same thing here, a great competitive advantage. Because when you invest in Bitcoin or some Dogecoins, you're not investing in actually anything other than code. Here, with Unicoin, you're investing in a global fund of innovations, which is going to finance new ideas, breakthrough technologies, which would make our lives better.
So every Unicoin owner would essentially be a stakeholder of a global fund of innovations.
It's indeed so, yes.
Currently, how can investors purchase Unicoins?
They can do it on our website, unicoin.com. And Unicoin is currently available at its lowest public price of just 10 cents per Unicoin. Now, we cannot guarantee any particular return or any success, etc. I can only share our excitement by the opportunity which we have identified. And I'm very pleased to see that hundreds, thousands actually, of other investors share our enthusiasm, and that by now we have already received $20 million in just first 6 weeks. And this round is still available, but it may end at any moment because we have some funds which are considering purchasing the entire round, and because we are starting a very extensive advertising campaign.